Hi, everybody. It's Carol Stearns, and I'm talking to you today from Stitcher's Quest in the mall in Fort Walton Beach, Florida. And we're going to be talking about the Katahdin bag, which is this beautiful bag behind me that I have made for the shop. And I'm going to be teaching this class on March 15th and March 29th. It is a 2-day class, and it would be pretty much 5 hours, a goodly 5 hours each day, because there's a lot to sew on this bag, and we'll get into that a little bit later. The class is $100, and that includes the 2 days, plus it includes the pattern. This is the pattern right here. It's called the Katahdin bag. We went back and forth on the name of it, but my husband happens to be from Maine, and there is a mountain up there called Mount Katahdin, and he knew exactly how to pronounce it. So now we know that it's the Katahdin bag. This is the pattern. It's $24. This is for the very large tote that you see behind us. And it also includes the metal strappings that we will include into the bag. So that's a pretty good bargain, I think. They also have these at Stitcher's Quest. And they also have a smaller bag if you would choose to make that one. It is $22 with a similar way to make it. You can call the shop and sign up, or you can go online and sign up for the class. We already have a couple of students, so we hope that you will want to come. So today what I'm going to do is talk to you about all the supplies that you need. When you get your pattern, on the back of it, there is a list of supplies that you will need. However, I found that when I was making the bag, I needed a few more things than were included on this bag. The first thing you will need, besides the pattern, you will need this product, which is the Katahdin roll of batting. There's 25 yards on a roll. You will need 2 of these for the large bag. It's much easier to buy these in a roll than it is to cut 2.5-inch strips, 50 of them. That'll take you a while to do. So this is $14.29. I think that's a bargain. They're already cut. You need 2 of these. You will also need thread. The pattern recommends a 100% polyester thread. This is one. What I used was the Isacord 40. It recommends a 50 weight, but I went ahead with the Isacord, and it worked out fine for me, and I used half of this spool was put into this bag. I also used 8 bobbins. Now, that's a lot of bobbins. So if you're one of those that you don't like to run out of bobbins, make sure you fill 8 of them before you come to class. You will also need, you want to start out with a 90-14 needle. You also need a denim needle, which is 100 by 18. This is very important to have that denim weight needle, because when you start sewing your pieces together and you zigzag them, you really need to be able to get through all the thicknesses. So that denim needle is really important. When I started out with the sewing of it, I used the 90-14 for the regular part of it. If you've made a jelly roll rug in the past, you'll be really good at this bag. You may already have something like this, which is the jelly roll tube maker. I did not have one of these when I was doing mine, so I folded everything. And by the time I got down to the 42nd strip, I was pretty tired of folding everything together. So I recommend what Judy has in stock is this little handy tool here. It is called a jelly roll batting binding tool. And you can actually attach it to your machine base. It has a little adjustable attach thing here. And you put your batting inside your jelly roll strip, and you feed it through here. And when it comes through the other side, it's already folded Where I was sitting there folding all these things and running them through my machine, it really was kind of tedious. So this is so much easier and a little bit more accurate also, because I found that sometimes I didn't always catch my my seam. So this folds in half right here, and then you'll be instructed to sew down the middle. This we will talk about this in the first class, but you'll be sent home to sew all of these strips together and have them done by the time you come back. So we've got our thread, we've got our needles, I really highly recommend you come back in. Judy said she has several of these and got one of these jelly roll strip binding tools. You also, the most important part is you need a jelly roll. This is the actual jelly roll that I used. It was called the Laurel Birch Bird of Paradise. It was all her basics. I just loved it. But I did find that when I rolled out all of the fabrics, there were several of the fabrics that were included with the jelly roll that I didn't particularly want to put into the bag because I didn't think they were as pretty as I wanted them to be. So to solve that problem, what I did was I bought a half a yard extra of this fabric, which is also a laurel birch and is included in this jelly roll, and a half a yard of the orange. And that will give you enough fabric to do your handles, your little zipper tie thing here. There's a name for it, but I can't remember it. You can also do the binding on your pocket and the binding where you thread the metal part through the bag. We'll go over the bag. I'll show it all to you before we finish today. So I had a half a yard each of each one of these fabrics, and I replaced all of the strips that I didn't think were pretty enough to be in the bag. You may buy a jelly roll that has all the strips you want to use, and that's fine. You don't need these, but you do need some extra for the handles. I did the handles in these two colors. I did the inside of the handle was the orange, and the outside of the handle was the pink. And I wanted the orange to show through. I didn't want this to be all enclosed, so I wanted it two-tone. So I was glad I got both of these fabrics. You also need a yard and a half of another contrast fabric, which you will use for your inside pocket. And I'll show you that after I talk about the supplies. This will be your inside pocket, and it will also be used to cover the base of your bag. I also took this fabric and I cut some strips and added those into the bag as well. So you want to make sure you have enough fabric. And when I say enough fabric, this is about what I have left when I bought all that extra fabric plus the jelly roll and the strips I've got. So you will use it. Now, you will also need a 30-inch zipper, handbag zipper. Make sure you get one that has two pulls on it, like this. Judy has these in all colors. I happen to use a purple one. She also has these wonderful, fabulous rainbow zippers. All the metallic part is in a rainbow color, so wouldn't that have been beautiful in any bag? The backing of the zipper of the rainbow is black. So if you were doing a colorful jelly roll that had some black in it, this would be perfect for the zipper. This is another jelly roll that's up here on my shelf, and this one is quite pretty. I don't think there would be anything in this jelly roll that you would have to replace because it looks like all of the pieces are quite colorful and go together quite well. But you will need that extra yard and a half for the pocket, some extra. If you don't need the extra strips, just a yard, and you will need some for the handles. Judy has beautiful stack of jelly rolls here, so come and peruse her supply and Pick one out for yourself. Let's see if I got anything else that I missed. I did type up a sheet, and it has been supplied to you online under the class. It calls for 20-inch wide Craft Text Plus for the inside bottom. That's a very stiff interfacing that you will put into the bottom. If you don't have any of that or you can't get it, I think you do have it here at the shop. I always use a yard sign, political yard sign. We have a closet full of them, so we're good. We're good there. You will also need a good machine that is able to zigzag. A walking foot is a necessity. Scissors, pens, seams, ripper, ruler, all the usuals. The handbag zipper, contrast thread, and that's about it. And all this is listed on your bag. Now let's look at the bag. This is the big Katahdin bag, and it opens wide. Let me just show you the inside. Isn't that gorgeous? The inside is completely finished when you're done because you've sewn all the strips together. This is where I use the elephant fabric for the pocket, and I use the orange for the binding on the pocket. I think the binding was supposed to go on the inside, but I wanted that orange accent. I also use the elephant to cover the bottom of the bag. So if you do whatever you use, craft text or anything else, you will want to cover that. So you will use the fabric. The metal part is folded up into the bag, but there's a strip that's sewn along here, so that I used my pink for that. And then it folds back up to make a stiff. So it's great because it opens wide up. Isn't that great? Somebody said that this would hold a small sewing machine, like a featherweight, or any small sewing machine that you got. But bring this to, even I think a serger would fit in here. Got pockets, completely finished on the inside. Folds up nicely. It's so soft. There's these little ties that go with it. And I want to show you something that worked out for me that I was really kind of surprised about when it turned out. Look how beautiful the side of this turned out. I did not plan, I planned this. I did not plan this. It just happened that it came together this way. I only had 2 purples, and then I had 2 of these greens. Then I added the elephant. I've got an orange and 2 more oranges. And then I had this yellow color that I liked. So I just sewed those together. When you sew this piece, you want to lay out your fabrics in a pleasing fashion and sew them together so that they match. It's a mirror image on both sides. When I got to this part right here, I felt that 1 strip down the middle instead of the 2 was more effective. So you just sew them together in a pleasing fashion. On the side here, I was amazed at how this yellow just frames the size, and it just turned out beautifully. The other side is just as pretty. And I was fortunate enough at home that I happened to have a purple zipper. I was going to use an orange one, but the purple one kind of just went in with the purple strip that was in here. And then I cut out a little fussy cut elephant for each end. I think I have gone over everything. I'm looking at April over there in the corner to see if she thinks I forgot anything. She said I did good. I hope you come and take the class with me. I want to show you the cutoff. I did not talk. This is what happens when you sew these strips together. They get kind of wonky. And after the strips are all sewed together, you might have some lumps and bumps. So in between the first class and the second class, You need to have all of these strips sewn together. If you have lumps and bumps, you're going to have to block it. Now, maybe you have never done any blocking, but what I did, I was washing a set of sheets that day, and I put this in the dryer with damp sheets, ran it for 10, 15 minutes till it got hot and damp. Then I put it under the mattress for a while, and it worked out pretty well. Then when I got it out, I kind of stretched it. But I think I might have figured a way that maybe it won't go so wonky when we sew it the next time. But we'll just have to see about that. Here's the other end. It's even more wonky. But it's pretty the way it turned out. I think I have covered everything. Oh, how to sign up. You can go online and sign up for the class, or you can just call the shop here, and they will take your name, and you can pay that way. And then you can come in and buy all your supplies. Make sure you have everything when you come to the first class. What we will do in the first class is we will make our handles, we will make our pocket, we will make all the pieces that we will need to finish up the bag, so that once we are ready to sew the bag together, you're done with that part. I hate it when I'm sewing a bag and I've got the bag all pretty and then I still have to do the handles. So let's get those out of the way, the first class, and we'll go over how to sew these strips together. Thank you, and come and sew with me. I would love to have you. Signing off. And broadcast.